In a world driven by connections, Oman beats at the heart of global trade routes, using integrated logistics solutions from coast to coast to bring every opportunity to your doorstep, connecting you with the thriving global markets through one of the world's fastest logistics hubs and the most efficient ports, making Oman and its ever-expanding operations a smart choice for global trade and businesses. Connect to the world. Connect to Oman. In a world.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sabah al khair. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for tuning in with us in this webinar. We are celebrating a very important function in our organization, the internal audit function. We're hoping that we can shed some light today on internal audit. And just for you who are new to our webinars, Asyad, we organize these webinars so we can improve awareness around our functions, our role in the society, and how we are contributing toward the country. I'm going to introduce my guests. We have a very senior panel who's going to give you today their views and some facts around this important function. We start with Ahmed Al-Musallimi, CEO Suhar International, and also board member and audit committee chairman in Asyad. We have also Munir Al-Mughiri, who is chief audit executive at Omnivest, Oman chapter president of the Institute of Internal Auditors. We have our own Zahra Al-Lawati, group chief audit executive at Asyad, board member and AC chairman at the SME Fund. We also have Kashif Kalam, who is a partner, country assurance leader, Oman and Bahrain PwC. So let's kick this off with a first question to Mr. Ahmed Al-Musallimi. How do you, as an executive, perceive internal audit?
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank you, Abdul Malik, Zahra, for actually making this arrangement and for having us here. And it's great to have our good friends from Ominvest and PwC as well. Look, maybe I should, just to give a context, we are living in a time of phenomenal change and massive disruption, and the degree of volatility, uncertainty, and complexities is getting worse.
True.
But also all of these entail a significant amount of opportunities and challenges. So what you need to have in place in an organization is an effective and efficient internal controls, risk management processes, and governance framework that can help an organization to seize these opportunities and grow in a sustainable fashion. So how I perceive the internal audit function within an organization as an executive is a function actually that is a crucial part of an organization of governance framework. And also it provides independent and objective assurance on the effectiveness and efficiency of the internal controls, risk management processes, and governance framework. And also the internal audit function can be used as a tool to identify risks and also areas of improvement and recommend to the management and the board in order to improve, be it on the risk side and mitigating the risk, and the improvement side, be it the isolated weaknesses or systemic risks. The internal audit can provide the recommendation actually to improve the overall control environment. And also an internal audit, apart from just being a regulatory requirement, should be viewed as a strategic function that can help an organization to identify risks or to identify opportunities and maximize potential to achieve its goals and objectives. And the internal audit function can help also the management to actually develop the risk appetite statement that is in line with the organizational goals and objectives in order to navigate through. See, the audit function does not stop the organization from taking risks, but helps the organization to manage risk.
Okay.
So in growing in a sustainable fashion, you need to take the risk, but also at the same time, manage the risk effectively. So that's how I view the internal audit as a function within the organization.
And throughout your career, did this view change, considering that you are an executive and you were in other seats before?
Actually, the view has not changed, but the audit function has evolved, if I may say that. And the audit function has evolved in so many different ways. And currently, for example, we see the audit functions are adapting or adopting to risk-based audits. And there is risk-based audits are developed in line with organizational objectives and priorities. I think that's very important. And we have a risk appetite statement that is aligned with your goals and objectives. The audit function can help you as a third line of defense. Because in organization, sound a governance framework, you will have 3 lines of defenses. The first, the second, and audit being the third, can help you give you an independent view, especially if the approach is risk-based.
Very good, very good. Thank you very much. Munir, picking up on that, Ahmed did shed some light saying, audit can help organizations, and it's very important for the growth, sustainability of organization. What's your view? How do you think audit helps doing that?
Thank you, Abd Malik, and I really appreciate Asiyad's effort in making this happening and increasing awareness about internal audit professions within our business and operations. So picking up on that, I want to shed some lights on the latest statistics we've done here in Oman, which is about the internal audit pulse survey. So we did that in 2022. And the revealing things that came out of that survey is that when they were requested when they were asked actually on to what extent internal auditors have contributed to disaster recovery, crisis management during COVID-19, 25% they have actually responded they were involved in the crisis management, either proactively or they were engaged by management. So that 25% also gives you an indication what is the position of the internal audit within our businesses. Also, one of the key facts that actually came out is that 95% of the internal audit functions in Oman actually report directly to the board. 5% only does not report to the board, and that enhances then the image that independence and objectivity is paramount for internal audit. But also surprisingly that those 95% is not only SAOC, SAOG companies, SAOC and LLC companies to some extent. They are also implementing this. Also, we have almost so those are the main facts that talks about internal auditors. Now, when also management actually were asked about their perception about internal auditors, 50% of the respondents, the internal auditors' perceptions about management, that 50% think they really value the leadership of the internal auditors in Oman. So this is specifically for Oman market. This overall macro level of how is the internal audit positioned within Oman puts really more critical role on how we should actually play our role in trying to position and trying to enhance the sustainability and the growth of our businesses. For me, I always think that the sustainability has to be actually enhanced taking the 3 triangles, the triangle 3 elements. So we have a triangle. We have the board of directors, we have the internal auditors, and we have the management. The top is the board. The board sets the tone, but also we cannot neglect and ignore any one of those roles. The chief audit himself cannot be functioning without the board and without the management. Same management cannot function, same without the board. So they really play critical role in trying to really enhance the internal auditor within this operating model. Now, at the board level, this sustainability and growth, they are enablers. When we speak about independence and objectivity, it's not only as a concept, but also it is good for the business. And what does it mean whatsoever, that everybody knows. But if we look at it being independent, being objective, itself is going to enable the business. And we think about also how the management should actually perceive also internal auditors. The more we engage the internal auditors, the more we keep them informed about what's happening in the business. And we look at them as a trusted advisor and strategic business partners. This is also very important on their deliverables. So that puts the pressure on the internal auditors to really start really coming forward and give an insight and foresight for the business rather than only focusing on the hindsight. And when we speak about the chief audit also, that's the key cornerstone actually. You have the board, you have management, and you have the auditors. The auditors themselves actually are the main driver for the full equations. We need to position ourselves in a manner that we become trusted, we become strategic. The way that we actually do things in the business, we should look at things big, but we should also balance between our approaches. We look at operational things, we look at the financial things, we look at compliance related matters, we look at strategic matters. This has to be balanced within our audit on a daily basis, whenever we deliver our audit report, whenever we communicate with management. Management, that's what it like to hear. They want to hear not only what went wrong, is how we can do better, how we can sustain, how we can grow. Which is very fundamental, and that's why positioning the internal auditors is mainly actually driven by the chief auditors and by the internal auditor themselves. And in one studies also, when they were actually asked about to what extent internal auditors work actually contribute to the performance of the businesses. So financial performance was the main driver. And financial performance driver management actually responded that where internal audit has contributed to reducing error in financial performance, in also 50% also responded that internal auditor contributed to the expansion of the business. So all of those things actually collating to each other's. This is why the full triangle should be functioning effectively, efficiently, and has to be evaluated from all stakeholders as we move on.
Very good. Thank you very much. Thank you, Munir. So basically, it's not a single party role. It's a combined role. It needs to have independence. There are established facts that actually helps the organization grow and sustain itself. Now coming to you, Zahra. Now we've heard independence a number of times. How the internal audit function is independent, and why should be?
This is $1 million question.
Okay, give me the $1 million when you finish.
The thing is, when we say independence of the function, it is first of all very important, and like 95% in Oman report directly to the board and the audit committee, committee of the board. This says a lot about the maturity when it comes to regulations and legalization of the audit function and how the regulators view it. But when it comes to practically to practice this independence, this is the message and what I would like to cover here. So having our independent reporting line directly to the board shouldn't be viewed by internal auditors as a prestigious reporting line. You know, I am beyond management and I have my access to the board. That is done and made and put for a reason. For us to utilize this line just to be able to independently add value and be and have our voice clear and heard without any bias, of course. So my message is the value add and the communication by internal auditors is significant to the results that Munir was just talking about. So for us to reach to that level, it is how I place my communication. What do I inform the audit committee? We are not anymore, and we shouldn't be viewed. And auditors should also come out of the shell of being fault-finding mission units. I'm here to find a fault on X department, so I will shine in front of the audit committee that I have more observations. This should fundamentally change. We should celebrate successes also within the organizations. If there are processes that are done fairly good and there are minimum and minor risks, we should also portray this. And I think this is what we are trying to bring here in Asyad, and this is what has been my also focus within the team. Issues will always be there,
Sure.
but what should we focus on? Where should we put our effort and put our hands together? And for example, when we report to the audit committee, I make sure that we combine the key issues so that we can drive decisions as from the audit committee, eventually from the board, that will add value eventually to the business. So name the process. That is one side. The second side of independence also, and also the value add, is as internal audit, and like Munir said, the triangle. It is, I call it, we are all like a big jigsaw puzzle. I fill up a piece, and everybody else has a role to play and fill the other pieces. We only have the cross-functional knowledge because of our cross-functional access. So that is giving us a lot of exposure and knowledge when it comes to data analytics. And my message to the management, my message to the auditors across, we have to use this exposure that we have to be sure that we are actually adding value to the organization. We're not focusing on the petty matters. We're only also focusing, and also like Mr. Ahmed has mentioned, we have to be aligned with the objectives of the organization. Being in isolation will serve no one, definitely will not serve us as internal auditors as well. So this is the independence that we need to exercise as a modern development portion of internal audit going forward.
Thank you very
Yes.
much. Coming to you, we've talked about internal audit, and we looked at how internal audit contributes, what is the role, what's its relationship with the board, with the management. Talked about growth and sustainability is very critical function in that. But probably a lot of people will perceive as internal audit a traditional function that is the same, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. So give us a view, or what you are, what's happening right now in this area. What are the best practices? How these best practices, considering what happened in the world, the COVID pandemic, the uncertainty that is that we see right now in the markets. How do you think internal audit should shape itself, considering all these elements?
Well, thank you so much for this, and thank you so much, the SCR team, for giving us this opportunity to present at this very important forum. It's a loaded question, but let me just focus on some of the key developments and buzzwords which are happening in the world today. So maybe I'll start with where Ahmed probably left it, is maybe we'll start with defense and the defense mechanism. I think the current trend globally is that the four defense mechanisms are now working together. So albeit IT, risk, compliance, and internal audit, that is the force which ensures that frauds, etc., are detected much earlier in the day, and they don't, or the force does not allow the fraud to penetrate into the system. I think that's one thing which is fairly new to the world, and internal audit plays a very, very important role in that. The other thing which is a recent trend is continuous audit. You touched base on that. Audit in the past was very traditional. People used to start the audit plan much earlier in the year, identify a risk earlier in the year, and then leave it and focus on the areas that they've identified. Now, with continuous audit, the risk is a continual identifying risk is a continuous process. Like you gave the example of pandemic. Now, nobody expected the pandemic to come in the early part of the year. It came and it came, right? And the challenges it got along because of the pandemic. People had to work from home. Computers, etc., were not available for everyone. People were provided with computers, etc. So all these challenges came with, these came with risk as well. So when people work from home, access issues came in, and various other challenges came in. Right? So continuous audit now gives you the opportunity, or gives you the guidance that you need to keep on identifying risk on a continuous basis throughout the year and keep modifying your audit plan. So that's one important thing that's happening globally. The other thing is, as Tara mentioned, was around data analytics and automation, which is also a new thing globally. Is converting raw data into actionable insights. That's a very, very useful element of internal audit now. Now, there are various tools available. There's a lot of automation happening in this space, and there's a lot of insights coming to the internal audit team because of that. The other element that we may want to mention is collaboration. I mean, collaboration is very important in today's time and world as well. So management collaborating with internal audit, as Ahmed was pointing out, or management collaborating with regulators, regulatory issues coming out, and addressing these regulatory issues with the internal audit. That's a new thing as well.
Okay, and if you look at the collaboration part, how do you see us maturing into this area, Oman in general, from your experience?
So Oman is also doing quite well in that space. We see a lot of involvement of internal audits with working closely with albeit the risk officers or the IT officers. And Oman is investing a lot in educating people in the IT space, the risk space, the internal audit space. I mean, this event today is also a little bit of investment in that space.
Sure.
So yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. We don't have a lot of time, but I think I want to close the session. We're closing to 11 in a small bits, so we can at least give some takeaways to whoever is tuning in. One sentence that you want the audience to know, and it's very important about risk. You want to make it one sentence or 3 words, is up to you. About audits and risk in general.
I think, just to add to what Kashmir said, one of the things which we have not highlighted is the importance of building trust and credibility with all the key stakeholders. And the internal audit promotes transparency and accountability, which is critical. Building trust and confidence with all the stakeholders.
True.
And the last thing I would say is, in organizational growth, if you're to sustain, you need to look at 2 things: performance and health. One without the other is insufficient, and they have to work hand in hand together. You perform, but always check your health.
Your health,
Those indicators and performance indicators have to be tracked consistently, and audit can actually help a lot in providing independent objective assessment of your health, diagnose symptoms.
Doctors, so they are doctors practically. Okay, very good, very good, very good. Zahra or Munir, maybe you start first.
In general, I think we are all on the same page.
Yeah.
I always, for me being in the IIA board, I always try to highlight us, the internal auditor, as professional, how much we can do. It's a continuous improvement. There is no enough of what we can do for the business, and there is no enough where we can stop. We have done our level best. It has to be continuous improvement. We have to really strive to do more, to also align our priority with the business. This is very important. We need to speak the same language. We need to really prioritize our efforts to make sure we are really enabling the business to grow rather than hindering the business to grow. And that's being agile as well, being flexible whenever we adapt our priorities. This is very critical for our success.
Okay. Kashif, maybe I'll continue with you, then we come back to Zahra.
Since you mentioned risk, maybe we'll focus a little bit on risk as well. So, despite the entire defense mechanism, saying if you don't collaborate with the other elements of the defense mechanism, the risk keeps on penetrating and you keep on losing, things keep on falling in cracks, etc. So you need to make sure that that is minimized.
Okay. So collaboration is key. Zahra?
So to conclude, I think to wrap it up and all, yes, Internal Audit Awareness Month is here for a reason, for us to be aware of the new era of internal audit. We are business partners. We are part of the organization. We strive for what the organization strives for, and we are also here to see it prosper and grow. So my message also to the internal auditors is look into how much value you can add, how much trust you can continue building, but also sustaining that trust on the long run.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for your time. I think this was very valuable to everyone. Maybe I'm just going to put a bit of a summary of what we heard. I think there was a good snapshot of what internal audit is doing, how the features of the independence of internal audit, how it works with board, with the management. But I think the interesting part for me came in the last few remarks that were said, and I think just for the audience who are tuning in, maybe this is the important takeaway for us, is that, as you've said, internal audit ensures and promotes transparency, and that leads to trust. Trust is extremely important for our business. You've said very interestingly also, you gave them the title of doctors. So they are the doctors of the health of the organization. We perform, but you need someone to come and check your health and see if your performance is actually leading to where you're heading, and that's the role of Dr. Zahra now. You've said it's very important for internal auditors and the community of internal auditors to keep continuing, focus on continuous improvement, on agility, on alignment with all the stakeholders in the organization. Kashif, you said collaboration. If we don't collaborate, we lose the battle to risk. And that is extremely important, especially in this era that we are living right now. And Zahra, you said you are a business partner. So basically, we are all in the same boat.
Yeah.
You have an important role to play, and internal auditors have important role to play for this boat to reach its destination safely. Thank you very much for everyone who tuned in. Thank you for being with us, and I thank again Ahmed. Thank you very much. Hamid Salmi, Munir, thank you very much. Kashif, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for organizing this and inviting me to moderate. Shukran jazeelan. Thank you very much. Thanks. Appreciate it. Thank you.
In a world driven by connections, Oman beats at the heart of global trade routes, using integrated logistics solutions from coast to coast to bring every opportunity to your doorstep, connecting you with the thriving global markets through one of the world's fastest logistics hubs and the most efficient ports, making Oman and its ever-expanding operations a smart choice for global trade and businesses. Connect to the world. Connect to Oman. In a world driven by connections,